Would you like to see football wherever you are in the world?
With NordVPN, you can get premium protection online and set your location so you never miss a minute of the content you usually enjoy.
Go to nordvpn.com/TSUW to get 72% off a 2-year plan plus 3 additional months absolutely free.
All right, here we are. Welcome, Blades. It is a transfer deadline special for January 2022. I think it's possibly fair to say my least favourite time of the year. Nearly over. At time of recording, we still have 4 hours left where things could happen. My name is Hal, as you can see on screen. I would love your comments, would love to know your thoughts on what you've heard today. It'd be fabulous to find out where you are as well in the world, because you always hear from people who are miles around the world. It is always good on what is a day that can throw up good transfers and also disappointing transfers. It's all about being yellow today. Look at that. Incredible. So we're not going to mess about. We're going to get straight into it. Let's go through what we know before we look into rumours, and there are quite a few floating about. So I am going to start with the ins. He's back. That man, Daniel Jefferson, absolutely delighted about this one. After a successful loan spell at Burton Albion, Daniel Jefferson returns to the lane to challenge for a place in that Blades starting lineup. Daniel Jefferson scored 9 goals in total during his loan spell with the Brewers. And of course, he was under the tutelage of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. And it's fair to say that Jimmy knows a thing or two about finding the back of the onion bag. Here's what Floyd Hasselbank had to say about this return to beautiful downtown Bramall Lane for Jebbo. We're very disappointed as we didn't expect it, and we're obviously sorry to see him go. He's one of those players that really lights up the place with his personality. He's been a breath of fresh air, and he's been a big example for players coming in on loan to our club and how good it can be for their development. It goes without saying, but we wish him well for the future. I think that is a touch of class from Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. So it doesn't surprise me. He always comes across really well, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, but it's nice that he says that. So what I want to know from you, Blades, with Jefferson, does he start for you on Friday at Birmingham? That's the big question. Now we know that Rhian Brewster's injured. We don't actually know the long-term damage that he's done. It was clearly a hamstring injury. Happened, unfortunately, right in front of me because I was literally on the front row at Posh, and instantly you knew it was bad because when he just goes down, there's no one around him. Any player, when you go down with no one around you, you know it's not good news. So does he start? Will it be McGoldrick? Will it even be McBurney? Not a terrible cameo at all from McBurney at that Posh game. So Jefferson and Dye, Gibbs White when he's back. Imagine that. That is going to be pace and skill for days. Daniel Jefferson received assurances as well that he will be involved in Sheffield United's push for promotion. So that's good because he was probably told, you know, you're not just going to be like kind of Kai Gordon's kind of been used once and then the bench the whole time. I think that would be really disappointing and not great for his development if that happened to Jefferson. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and also let us know your thoughts on whether you think Jebbo should actually be involved. Now, it's just me on my own today. As you can tell, I haven't got Nick with me. I haven't even got Bobby in the background. So if I am like really far behind getting to your comments, then I apologize. But interesting to read things already. I mean, imagine that. Yeah, Jebbo when he's fit, Brewster, Iliman and Dye as a front three. And then you got Morgan Gibbs-White in the hole. I think that is so exciting. The future is bright. The future is red and white. And we've still got that 122 goals in the Championship man, Billy Sharp, and he spent 8 seasons not in the Championship. So, and you got Bogle on the right as well. It's just a good time, I think, to be a Sheffield United fan. And I think you've got to take a little bit of hats off to Hecky, to the board, Jack Lester, McCall, what they've done. You know, getting a lot of stick when it was all decided that Slavisa was going to go. We weren't going in the right direction. He didn't have the answers, and he wasn't giving the board what they wanted to hear. They made a brave step, and at the moment, I know it's early days, but it does look like United are headed in the right direction. All right, I'm going to try and pronounce Charlie Good like Charlie Good, because until someone tells me otherwise, that's how I'm going to say his name. When you've got an E on the end, I've got a friend who's got the same surname. He pronounces it Good. So, you know, it's possible could be that. But you can't make the jokes if it's pronounced good. So we're going with good for today. Wait until you see his brother as well, Ebenezer. It's possible we could get a song going along those lines, like Charlie Good, Charlie Good. His name is Charlie Good. Yeah, maybe I should. I mean, I've already had to go at a song on Twitter today, and that went down like a lead balloon. So, yeah, maybe I'll leave those to someone better placed. But United get him on loan for the rest of the season from Brentford. There was interest from multiple Championship clubs. Again, I think this speaks highly of Heckingbottom, perhaps his ability to convince a player that you're going to be part of the system. This is a deal with no option to buy. So it's a loan until the end of the season for Charlie Good. Doesn't look delighted about the move. I don't know what the photographers actually say when they're actually doing these pictures. But yeah, he's joined from Brentford to the end of the season on loan. Right-footed, born in Watford, supports Arsenal. None of that stuff's important. He's played 6 times this season for the Bees in the Premier League, 8 appearances in total. He is 6'5". That's like 2 of me and Panchero. So nice to get a tall, good-looking, long throw merchant. That's another good thing. A natural leader. He has been captain before. He was captain Northampton. In fact, I'll get to that. But one of the things I was thinking with the long throw is if he is coming in to replace Jack Robinson, that is like for like in terms of having that long throw weapon. And I think that's really important because we have seen that whilst we haven't utilised it too much, it is good to have it and for the opposition to know that you have it. So got a good long throw. He's not the quickest, but he does work well in a back three. He got a hamstring injury around Boxing Day, hasn't played since. He's going to wear the number 26, which I think is his age. Brentford fans say he gives 100% in every game, always looks solid, made the step up from League Two to the Premier League. I mean, we know about that journey, don't we, from not necessarily League Two, but certainly from League One to the Premier League. And, you know, players can surprise you. They can keep making that step up. Well, apparently that's what he's done. He's not looked out of place. Check out Roy's view from .com for more opinions. One I highlighted on there was, this is from a Brentford fan. He is no nonsense, old school centre-back. Sometimes you need it. And actually, to be fair to him, can whip a ball in quite well too. Cultured ball-playing centre-backs, which everyone craves, are expensive and hard to find and keep hold of. He gives 100% every game, and you can see he's working hard to perform. Now, that is it, isn't it? 100%. That's all us Blades ever asked for, 100%. If he gives that, great. So, yeah, as I say, wearing number 26, he is 26, probably just a coincidence. Under contract at Brentford until June 2024. They also have an option to extend that for another year. So if the Blades do want to sign him, a bit of cash is going to have to be put up at the end of his loan. I think that really will depend how he performs. I think if he performs well for the Blades, Brentford will probably say no. And I think if he performs well for the Blades will probably say yes. So we'll get into a bit of a bidding war, and then it will just be the case of if Sheffield United have any money. He came through the Fulham youth system. He was released at 15. Apparently they said he wasn't tall enough. I mean, he had that growth spurt that I'm still waiting for. And he made his way back through the non-leagues, also working in the family business, fitting electrical blinds around training and playing. I need some electrical blinds in the bathroom, so I need to get hold of them. Good forged his reputation when joining Northampton from Scunthorpe in 2019. He captained them to League Two promotion. He had the opportunity to work under former Blades defender Keith Curle at the Cobblers. From there, Brentford snapped him up, but injuries and illness have made him a bit part player for them in the last 2 seasons. Has played for them, as I say, in the Premier League this season, but now seems surplus to requirements. He needs game time. And considering that I think he is rated very highly, he is a talent, but he's injury prone. And that's something that has plagued him throughout. So the Bees signed him for £1 million. He was capped once by England C. He was a second-half sub in a 2-1 friendly victory over the Republic of Ireland. That was back in 2015. His father and brother, his brother Ben, a goalkeeper, also footballers, also apparently really tall. Charlie has said, I'm an aggressive defender, maybe slightly old-fashioned. I like to get stuck in. I'm getting a kind of Chris Morgan combined with Robert Page vibe from him. Anyway, I'll carry on with the quote. Bringing the ball out from the back is part of my game. Scrap what I just said about Chris Morgan. Trying to make things happen. One thing you can guarantee is I'll leave everything out there. Like I say, I want to hear that. Also, I think when you're trying to get into a new team, that's always going to be difficult. And I would imagine he's been given some assurances. He goes on to say, it's always going to be hard to break into a team. I'm not expecting just to be thrown straight in, but I'm a player that's desperate to play, and I've come here to play. So let's see what will happen with that. What do you think about the signing of Ebenezer Good, if indeed we're going with that pronunciation. I think it does speak well that we've managed to convince someone. By the way, Riley, will we sign those Liverpool centre-backs? I mean, Williams was the only one. It was Nat Phillips and Reece Williams were the two. Williams was the only one that sounded realistic, and at the moment, that neither of them are going to happen. Also, yeah, Bournemouth, of course. I was hearing all day that they were going to go there instead, but I'm only concentrating on Blade stuff for today. Also, with a youngster, Frankie Maguire has returned to the lane after a 2-month loan spell with Bradford Park Avenue. He may still go out on loan again, but if it's back to the National League, no need to rush. So if you think we've not heard him move today on what is get your yellow ties on, deadline day, then it could still happen a little bit later on. So we will see. Also, the EGAN thing. So, yeah, Scott's saying EGAN moves to left centre-back, Good in the middle. EGAN has played the left for Ireland. Absolutely true. Something that Ingrid Nick has mentioned on this channel before is that EGAN can play and does play very well for Ireland on the left. So, possible that we could see that. Also, when we're talking about transfers, you've got to look at the outs. And at the moment, that is it for the ins. We know this one was not kept particularly quiet. 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝 transfer on loan is done. He's officially signed for Serie A. Bottom club Salernitana on loan for the rest of the season. The Frenchman is going to wear the number 99 shirt. I want to give a little hat tip to Dane Shaw, who said that's the closest he's come to 90. A reference to the fact that Lees has never completed 90 minutes of football in England. I want to thank friend of the channel, Darren Smith, for his information on Salernitana, because you might not know a lot about them. They are currently propping up the Serie A table. The fact they're even in Serie A, many consider to be an absolute miracle. They are such a small club. That's the reason behind that. It's one of those ones, they nearly went bankrupt, then they did go bankrupt, and then they dropped into Serie D. Serie D! I know I've never even said it out loud. That was only as recently as 2011, but they were saved by the Lazio president, Claudio Lotito, so he was Lazio and Salernitana. They made it through the tricky Italian league system, which if you've ever played Football Manager, you know it's a nightmare, all the way up to Tier 2, which is Serie B, where they sat for a few years, stable, but with an owner that was in charge of 2 clubs, and you can't have that once you get to the top flight. You can't be in charge of 2 clubs. So all changed last season. They went up, and the owner had an ultimatum: sell the club or be demoted. They started the season in the hands of a trust until a buyer could be found, but struggled on the pitch with little investment. Then just before the deadline of the 31st of December, they were finally bought by Inverolio, a businessman whose name I've definitely completely butchered, from nearby Naples for a reported 10 million euros, but Lotito was livid. He spent 4 times that. The new owner has promised to do all he can to keep them up, including signing Diego Costa, but that deal was pulled at the last minute because they expressed doubts, get this, over his fitness and motivation. So they went for 𝐍𝐸𝐸𝐶 instead. A deal has now been agreed, and Lees will be with them until the end of the season. He's then out of contract, but a bit like with Good, United can trigger a 1-year extension. I think that will depend on how Lees performs and if he shows his fitness and if he even completes 90 minutes. So Salernitana lie bottom on 10 points, 8 points adrift of 4th bottom Venezia, where Ethan Ampadu plays. They average 12,000 in the Arecci Stadium. It's a beautiful part of the world, close to Sorrento and Naples, the home of pasta and pizza. I did an interview for a Salerno website earlier today where I said, amongst other things, defenders hate playing against Moose because it's so hard to know what he'll do next, because he doesn't know what he's going to do next. If you're interested to know what kind of formation they play, the Italian journalist I spoke to informed me that they have a lot of competition for places up front, so no guarantee that 𝐍𝐸𝐸𝐶 is going to come straight in. They play a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2. We haven't seen 𝐍𝐸𝐸𝐶 operate in a 4-4-2 on too many occasions, so I'm not quite sure how he will do in that. But I got to say, this one for me, if I'm just giving my own personal opinion, and I want yours, let me know in the comments what you think about 𝐍𝐸𝐸𝐶 going. I think he's a great talent, but fitness, such a concern that I'm actually happy for him to go. But I said on a previous video that I only wanted him to go if it was permanent, because you kind of get the feeling if a team gets a chance to have a look at him, they're not going to buy him. I know that sounds awful, but it's just how I kind of feel. I don't think he's going to be able to to prove his fitness. So let's know in the comments what you think. I hope 𝐍𝐸 does well and we extend his contract, proving he can get fit because he's our best striker. I don't disagree with that, Kieran. Kieran always speaks sense. If not, thanks and goodbye. You know what? You're right. And we can build this exciting youth team. Not a bad shirt, in fairness. Yeah, I know. It is a nice-looking shirt. Hopefully has a successful loan and improves his fitness. And can Morgan Gibbs-White come back after the deadline? Yes, it is purely just at Wolves to do the medical side of things. And I mean, that would happen with 𝐍𝐸 as well. If 𝐍𝐸, imagine this, gets injured after 6 minutes for Salernitana on his debut, he would come back to Bramall Lane if we wanted to, you know, on his private jet with his feet on the seats, and we'd sort him out there. What's this one say? Scott, I saw a tweet earlier. Moose loves the idea of being a footballer instead of actually being one. I mean, I can't possibly comment on that. We'd have to ask the man himself, and you know, we've never approached him. So who knows? We have approached some players like Jack Robinson. Let's move on. So what about some of the players that are just rumoured rather than actually confirmed? And also, because I'm here on my own, by the way, if something breaks while I'm doing this, drop me a little comment. I would really appreciate that. Freezy, I hate calling him that because it's a terrible nickname, but Luke Freeman, linked with Luton Town. So we know he played very well at Luton. Myself and Nick were actually at that game, and we thought he did really well. The fans serenaded him at the end, and he just performed really well. It was only a short experience of time on the grass at Kenilworth Road, but he didn't look out of place, and maybe that impressed Jay and a few others in the Luton hierarchy and their recruitment team to actually see, you know, what Luke Freeman could do. A lot of people are saying that Freeman is definitely going to go, but it hasn't happened yet. And as I say, there's still, well, 3 hours, 45 minutes of time recording that could still go. Being the Blade, good name. I can't believe Freeman is going to leave without even scoring a league goal for us. I was buzzing when we first signed him. I thought this is the £4 million man. This is someone who always played well against us. But let's be realistic, Bean. He hasn't really been given a proper opportunity, has it? Well, there you go, Andrew Booth. Never been given a proper chance. He's never really, even when we needed wingers, we never played him really on the left, and I wanted to see what he could actually do. I actually think he could play in that hole, you know, that where Morgan Gibbs-White has been out. Interesting. I still think we're a left wing back or attacking midfielder short. I do like Freeman, but it's every blue moon he gets an opportunity. It's so true, Alessandro. So that one is still a little bit up in the air. What about one that we mentioned on Twitter, and it's not gone down too well. Now, we don't make stuff up. We get information, and we've got a track record of bringing you accurate information. And this one, United have had interest for George Baldock. That is true. The interest has come from Norwich, Burnley, and Celtic. The theory was, United did not want to let Baldock go, and he hasn't. But the theory was Bogle and Sariki, could cover that position. Nothing is going to happen there. It was all a case of, if the right offer came through, maybe a deal could be done. The right offer hasn't come through. So that is, I don't think anything is going to happen there. Let's have a look at what Ian's saying. I'm a Darlington fan. We were made bankrupt in 2011. I know. Reformed in 2012, demoted 4 leagues. We're currently a fan-owned National League club. I know, mate. Ian, I had a whole season following Darlington, which is a story for another day. I won't get into that right now. But yeah, good to hear from you, and absolutely right. Moose, you think would feel shame letting his talent go to waste. I know, Terence. Men like Billy Sharp playing in the first team, it just shows what dedication can actually get you. And I think as Blades fans, the way Moose has kind of treated his talent doesn't always sit well, because I know that if any of us had the ability he had, we'd do everything we could to make sure we were out there each Saturday. So that's just what I'm thinking there. I'm also reading because just going to say, can't believe anyone didn't mention the misspelling. Right, good, yeah. If there is ever some misspelling, just spotted it. If there is ever a misspelling, either on here or on Twitter, it's 100% Nick. Let's have a look at another rumor, which again don't want to talk about because 1, I don't think it's going to happen, and 2, it would be a disaster. But John Egan linked with West Ham. I hate West Ham. Reportedly, interest if Diop leaves. Well, Diop doesn't look like he's leaving, so that's going to work beautifully. But also, I'd like to think that the United hierarchy would say no if a serious offer came in for John Egan. Do not want to see that happen at all. That would be hugely disappointing and would, I think, I'm going to go this far, I think it would derail the season. And that's not because John Egan has been playing really well. He actually hasn't been playing really well. He's been okay. He's been good. He's been the John Egan where you think even in his best season, if he had like a slightly 5 out of 10 game every now and then, you'd be like, well, okay, because he's going to have a 10 out of 10 game next game. He's just been okay. And I'm sort of thinking this season and even a bit of last season, like that header against Peterborough in the first half when he had all the time in the world. I was always told when I played football, when the ball comes towards you, head it back from whence it came and down. And he had a chance, free header, and did everything opposite to that. So, you just want to see a few things, go right for him, get him back on form. And I think if he left, it would be huge. Ed agrees. It would rule out a playoff push. And I think we're really in the mix for a playoff push. So don't think it's going to happen. Don't want it to happen. But at the moment, it would depend on that Diop move. So let's wait and see and hope that nothing happens there. Of course, if anything does break once I go off air today, Nick or myself will be back with you tomorrow and we would talk about that. Okay, so another one. And this one, I do have only slight meat on the bones, not proper like, here we go. But I've been speaking to some people who know more than me. And 𝐍𝐨𝐫𝐝, and yes, that's how you say it. There were a couple of Italian clubs talking to his agent last week. Venezia were rumoured to be interested, but the Italian window is closed. So nothing doing this transfer window to Italy, unless something has happened and they've kept it quiet, like they can do. But from what I've heard, United, it has been suggested, did turn down a loan move for Sander today from Venezia as they left it too late, not enough cash on the table. Of course, if I get more information on anything along those lines, let you know. But don't think anything's going to happen there. I think we would probably wait if we were United to do anything with Sander. I don't think a loan would really benefit anyone in this current situation. Let's get him back fit. Let's get him back actually playing meaningful minutes for us. What's he played? Like 40 games? It's not enough. It's not enough. We signed him, on this day 2 years ago. And who'd have thought of all those players we signed on this day 2 years ago that Jack Robinson would be the one who's had the most impact? It's not the way it should have been. And another one I want to touch on, it's not current Blades, but it is a former Blade. Huddersfield Town have completed the signing of goalkeeper Jamal Blackman. So we will see Jamal, maybe. It's on a short-term deal until the end of May. He's 28 now. You'll remember that it was 2017-18 season. He was on loan at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. I regretted going to that QPR away match, I tell you. He made 33 appearances in all competitions. He kept 10 clean sheets, but crucially, not in that QPR game that I've just referenced there. Right, before we go, I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. That is, at the moment, your roundup of what has happened so far today. As I say, there may be things that do happen a little bit later on. And if they do, we will, of course, be back tomorrow to try and kind of go through anything else that actually breaks after the deadline. But thank you very much for joining. Whatever you are doing for the rest of your evening, if like me, you'll just be constantly refreshing Twitter. I hope it's a good one. And Nick and I will speak to you next time.